caught off guard so many times by Hellraisers, and now they stay on that side as they look to try and stand and fight. Axel straight down middle with 2 headshots, kicking this round off with aggression, but it's backfired.
Yeah, actually, it started very well, but we have seen a... Luckily for them, they've got the B site for free, and the only man standing in their way is going to be Shiro.
I've got to say, I'm a bit puzzled at that too. I mean, as you say, it does kind of make sense, but you CT spawn before it's Patsi that just moves in there alone, and he does get spotted, but takes off the head of Patsi, taking some damage in the process, though. So the aforementioned $350 no longer on the table, and neither will any Kevlar, to be fair, with his death. And we'll all become massive fans of his, but they've got sub 30 seconds to make something happen. They walked into a grenade that absolutely rips them to shreds, and Axel finishes them off. This was an invested round. They do have a ton of deagles and SMGs, 15 seconds to go, and those SMGs now coming to the forefront in all the chaos. Hobbit strikes from library, silencing Mia permanently, and with 7 seconds to go, Sumdai Young successfully gets the bomb down. He's being forced down by multiple angles, running out of ammunition, only 3 bullets left, 1 bullet left in the magazine, runs out and has to switch to his USP. Nafany, in the meanwhile, though, can't quite punish him. Ring around the rosy, but there's still so much time left on that bomb. Nafany's in no great rush and connects with the deagle. It's at great cost to Gambit, 4 players, but he gets it done, and Gambit get their first round, and I can't take you seriously with those bunny ears on.
I think he needs to pull off something pretty impressive, because they've handed an AK over to Nafany, who there's a lot of maps I feel like he's sort of under the radar. I guess that's the best way to put it. This map, not so much. He's very aggressive on Banana. He likes to take...
In the grand finals, we had a game where I think 6 or 7 rounds in a row, it's the 4 spies between these teams that did end up being successful. Could we be getting into that territory? Shiro and Nafany say no, but Sumdai Young opens that book again and puts a scout round in the head of Nafany. Now with low HP, Sumdai Young and Shiro need to be dodging bullets, but still sneak the bomb down under the nose of Shiro.
So sure, it's a case where they've won themselves a round and they'll get themselves the extra bonus for the win, but they don't actually take any.
It was the B site fairly late on that previous round that saw them strike. And they've lost the first player again. Gambit lose.
So he thinks, okay, no one's gone through mid. I've spotted information, but look at the wraparound. The only player to stop them is interz, and he has no idea because Axel's waiting, and his teammate just said, well, no one was in mid, so they've kind of got this completely wrong. Somehow, though, Axel actually almost wins 2 duels. That could have been the change of the round. And Shiro, well, 1v3. Sure, he's got an AUG and a kit, but he needs a very fast kill if he's going to have any chance in this position.
Yeah. But other than that, hard to see him getting this round under wraps. Headshot instantly onto Mia. But these are the kind of situations I was talking about before, Tom. Maybe with the saved gun, they feel like going in again. But I think they've reached that stage where, like,
experienced like spirit players looking to try and set you up in the round, and all your role is to just try and use raw individual skill. Oh, Hobbit's got to be mad.
But yeah, it's definitely going to be a tilt for Hobbit. And this was the side of the map where they struggled yesterday, but under very different circumstances. This is more coordinated from Spirit. They're picking them apart. Shiro has the AWP, close range, spots the elbow, doesn't bite too early, and that's important. Allows him to steady himself. Shuts down Chopper, shuts down the B attack. And the T's now start to make a move onto A, but they've already quelled Exile, and interz gets caught out in the open, dropped to 6 HP, and Spirit have pounced onto the site. This will be another round going the way of Spirit.
Shiro have to try and find those opening picks, and that's exactly what Sumdai Young did. So, man, I'm a bit worried as well. Spirit, yeah, he's going to lose that gun. It's a 1-up. And they're putting the pressure onto interz as well, knowing that sometimes this man crumbles a little bit. Definitely had some struggles yesterday, but Shiro looking to pick up the piece.
Man, smoke though is important. Forces Spirit to come out somewhat blind, but they're jumping and leaping into action. That springed coil edge, but certainly favoring Gambit. Just one passage of play is required from Hobbit. If he can get a kill, that could be huge, but gets sprayed down amongst the smoke. Now interz on the cross, he comes out second best. Nafany needs kills. 8 seconds to go. He goes down as well. It's all collapsed for Gambit. They had their chances, but it slips away.
Hacksaw, there's nothing. He should just be walking away to save the AWP again. Like, the economy of Spirit is not going to be too damned at this point, and but you have to feel a little bit bad for them. Like, Shiro's position, I think that's audacious. Like, you have an AWP in your hand. Like, we know what this man can do. Oh, he's going to get caught, isn't he? They've definitely spotted him. And, oh, Chopper's just not missing.
It's already gone, Tom, because I was thinking we saw Gambit play Inferno yesterday. That I was absolutely adamant of that, and I was like, hold on a second. They actually...
Young. We a lot of players within this team, or within this server, in fact, that I think we can talk about like second chances or resurgences within. Brutally honest, it wasn't great. Now they're making roster moves that are even, I would say, fairly risky. Like, and I just balance
in terms of how aggressive they're being early on. No flashes or smokes to proceed. The pick onto nafany. I don't know if Spirit have maybe caught a couple of things as potential weaknesses that Gambit have. But my God, Tom, they are bodying Gambit. They're showing very little respect in the process, just steamrolling through them.
Yeah, they're making players that we've known to be like star players look like absolute amateurs. Without them, literally doesn't exist. Like, the team disbanded without these two players. Like, Patsi, a young up-and-comer, still, I think, a long way to go before he, like, really proves himself. Degster, again,
close enough that he can quickly wrap in if they need him.
That's not the start for Axel. He does some damage, and interz, well, he's the one to step up from the pit. The crossfire, not really doing too much, though, and actually, Axel really doesn't get anything done. Luckily, Hobbit walks through. nafany definitely being caught off, and now we've got mirror ping. It seems like everybody's just picking up this weapon today. He doesn't check the angle properly, though. The time. I bet it was really funny when he did it, and now he's sort of sat there like, I feel a bit silly.
Especially now through that middle play, it's like, okay.
Oh, good. Can Axel do a slightly better job this time? He's been forced out by the Molotov, and no, it's another rough spray. Like, sure, it's a player jumping towards you, but I guess at this stage, I just have such high expectations of Axel that I would be like, okay, he's getting a kill here. And it just hasn't looked. They're trying to take B, but the round is already over. The bomb's about to explode. This is just an attempt to clear out a lot of extra weaponry. And they've already got rid of one of the weapons. They're looking for that. Oh, Patsi in the last second.
Some bullets and spit venom down range on Archer's good flash, but they don't follow behind it. And Shiro falls to the hand of Sumdai Young. Time is dwindling away, but Patsi still holds on. That's a kill that interz should be picking up. In amongst all the flashes, the bomb has traversed across to the site with 13 seconds left. There's enough time for the plant. And nafany and only 2 kills and 26 ADR to his name has to somehow pull out the 1v3 clutch. He will get the drop onto magixx, but that moment pretty
now.
Is this like the equivalent of taking the gloves off? You know, like that.
No, I feel like
it's trying.
It's 1 versus 3 with a full execution. The rotation has just begun, so everybody else is so far behind. Gets off to a good start. He'll take 1, and actually, Hobbit is going to get a second. Fantastic hold from him. The problem is nafany's now been caught in no man's land. Patsi still holding on the other side of the map. 15 kills to his name, only 7 deaths. And now it's up to Axel with a similar predicament as magixx. Sure, he gets dinked, but it doesn't matter. He takes Axel down, and the site goes in favor of Spirit.
It just seems like every impactful, integral moment with Jules has gone the way of Spirit. Another one there where Axel, some days he holds that alone. He gets a kill. But he just goes down straight away. Shiro's being tagged up through the smoke, and Patsi, stepping in, has picked up 17 kills in the... A little bit nervous for Gambit going forward.
Yeah, for sure. It's an uncomfortable prospect. Hobbit, though, he does manage to sell a little bit of a fake on the other side of the map, and I say little bit. He gets 2 kills. This leaves Chopper as the lone defender. Axel, though, that's such a risk. An unnecessary one as well. He pushes through the smoke, turns it into a 3 versus 3, and gives a real chance for the CT side to actually pull this one back. And in fact, Sumdai Young, he's going to give them...
It could all be over. They got the P250 in Shiro's hands. Good flashbang. And the CTs spill out onto the site. nafany gets caught. Shiro's position is known. It's compromised, and he loses his head. Sumdai Young gets 3, and more than enough time for the defuse. They had a kit as well if they needed it. And Spirit will take the second pistol. And surely, Tom, they'll take the first map. Solidly, they need to get picks. Mia nearly catching player out in the open, but Sumdai Young gets the opportunity, and although it's a Laban's fray, he gets the damage done. Hobbit, though, and Shiro spring into 3 quick fire kills, and now magixx needs to pull the plug get the hell out of there, keep himself alive. Relocating to the pit, not only does this keep them occupied on short, but it allows his teammate of Chopper to move in closer. So they put themselves into a good position now to maybe thwart this push. The bomb goes down to the hand. Tons of damage down to 21. But it's all down to magixx. Can he get the flank? Can he get the kill to Chopper? Yes, he does, but it's at great cost to his HP. And magixx is still alive, only on 21 HP now. And surely he's going to fall down. First kill goes his way, and he wasn't far off. These rounds, they've given up Archer's control. Patsi should know this. Flash over, but nafany reacts to it. Was anticipating that could come up. magixx tries to hold on to pit alone. Smoke down affords him a little bit more time to bypass some of the bullets that will be headed his way. Also, as a countermeasure to any Molotov that's tossed into pit. And he does such a good job. He's such a good player when it comes to pit. He's going from strength to strength. Another kill goes his way, but he's bought up enough time for the rotation to come in. And Mira's showing his hand on quad. Molly's going across, back and forth. And it's a big headshot from Mia, but Shiro stands his ground. Will be planting front of sight. Has Chopper to deal with, who is still showing his hand on quad and misses out on the spray. Around, he wants to get a bit more aggressive, wants to get aggro wrapped around the back of the tees. They're being stalled well. Big headshot from Patsi. Now they know that all the players have got to be banana or hitting B site. They have the perfect rotation. They can trade out another player. This crossfire is looking so devastating. Time is ticking away. magixx now shows his hand. It's 2 kills, and Shiro only has 38 HP. He goes down to Mia and
realistically, what can Gambit do in this case? An impressive performance. Patsi still doing a fantastic job. And as said at the beginning, like, I wondered what level he would be able to get to in this team, because he's had his sort of flashes. He's had his moments where you've gone, okay, he's got talent, but is it like a consistent level of some of the other stars within the CIS? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Or maybe later we'll see them fit degster in. We don't know. It might just be that the early stages have had some teething issues. Shiro, though, patient. And they've turned this from a 5v4 into their favor. But nice shot from magixx. Now playing on the arch side, not within the pit. He's got Patsi alongside him, who's actually going to go for the repeat and gets the timing spot on. Each team have now taken a man advantage at different points in this round. And nafany, if he wins this duel, he can turn the tide again, but it's not happening. Chopper, ready and waiting. Hobbit, 17 HP, no bomb. I think map 2's on the cards.
Yeah, it's looking like we're headed to overpass very shortly. 17, all that separates Gambit and their demise, and Chopper put...
magixx really is like pushing and probing. Like, he's gained a lot of information at this point, but it's going to be stack. Most of the players are here, Vince.
Yeah, this is what all that aggression affords you. Shiro, though, comes in, swinging with the P250, and Hobbit's not far behind. Mia has been dealt with, and now Hobbit can post up close on connector. Taking a bit of damage is Shiro, but still alive to tell the tale, and then puts that P250 to use 2 more times. Much more like it from Gambit.
Islands, Espada also entering into, I believe, an open as well. But the fact is, this will be now where he needs to prove himself. And so far, not gone great, as he has gone down early in this round.
Was a force buy as well. Not as if Gambit have just steamrolled over USPs, meaning there won't be too much to play with, but the upshot of that is that magixx with his deagle has suppressed interz. Molly to truck, there's 2 players there. That's brutal for Spirit. They're going to have to relocate. Flash is good. magixx can't take the close angle courtesy of that fire, and he will go down eventually. It's labored from magixx. He gets softened in the process, but some Die Young can't really capitalize with the SMG. And the MP9 in the hands of Mia is all that stands between Gambit and their second round. Now, 2 players being low on the banana side, which he definitely did spot, but he doesn't want to give his position away. It doesn't matter. Shiro with that Galil is too quick. Surgical.
Now the AWP in the early stages of this round is actually manning towards long, and the boost is almost perfect. Mere so clinical.
Risk. It can be dangerous, can certainly sting. Good flashbang affords him a little bit more passage on the short side, but that crossfire is too strong. There's only going to be 1 kill that comes back. And very important for Spirit.
He doesn't go out. This man is dedicated, and that's why his aim is probably better than most. Patsi, though, a bit cheeky. He snuck his way once, because thus far, Patsi's actually managed to escape back out through connector, and they've just fallen into a more passive stance, in fact, up until the point where magixx...
8 players survive, and that's a difficult one to take if you Gambit.
And that's the... Spirit get to make a hell of a lot of cash very early on, and now they get to fight for another round against the weaker...
interestingly, and they eat a grenade for it as well. They'll bypass this. Axel getting into bathrooms, but degster...
Unless they somehow manage to wrap around the back of the site and plant there, again, they're in an impossible scenario. Some Young holding the angle, but if they somehow get past him, there's another 2 players ready and waiting, and the bomb's dropped in the open. They've got 15 seconds. Are they going to save again? I would almost rather see them just go for something here. And there's degster, not missing a beat. Shiro finally takes one down, but 7 seconds. They could just wait, but magixx decides to kill him off.
Save and then die afterwards. And we're in this horrible catch-22 situation. However, whichever way you spin it, it's 3-3, and degster again already.
Seems like they've kept it as like the oldest Sparta duo. I wonder if that's intentional. They've just gone, okay, we're just going to fit you in together because you already play this role. It might be a quick fix, or it might just be something that the players wanted themselves. Like, okay, we work well together on this map. Let's keep that. Let's not change things. Somehow, though, Vince, I'm starting to lose the plot. They are managing to make this round of all the rounds we've witnessed work.
Yeah, it's impressive that they get a pick from Axel, but the bomb is down over on Banana. That being said, Me has been caught, and it's not as if Young has tons of health to play with. Only 7. And even though the bomb's there for him, he has to be flawless. Interz also is low. And so Young whips out the USP, but interz with the AUG at range puts him...
Gonna get himself an AWP and have some extra cash to spare. Wow, Gambit have been let off a little bit, and then
Axel already pushing onto sandbags, and this could be a little bit devastating for Patsi because he was the player in connector. Now Axel's position is known, so he at least will get traded out in the process. So many flashes landing on the site. There's another one. They still have 2 behind it. Molly gets tossed into back, but now Young shows his hand. He knows there's a player around the corner. Nafany sprays not on point, and Mia punishes him. And now Shiro trying desperately to salvage this round. A big headshot onto Mia. Will have to go back in again. Grenade chunks him down to 29 HP. 13 seconds, decides, screw the truck, I'll go back onto the site again. Another frag goes his way, and that was doable. He could have won that round. He was so close. Thing is, they have no one coming long, so that means that degster should be given quite a lot of freedom, but he gets wide swung. Patsi can't help him out. Patsi now trying to do damage control. And although a headshot did connect onto Nafany, I don't think that's going to be good enough to yield the round. Axel also watching the flank. Gets the drop on magixx.
Like if you're playing 4 on B, you almost always have like a player jump spotting. That's the common for an AWP. Like you jump spot over long.
His confidence is sky high in this positioning. Angle he's watched so many times before, and does get the pick onto Matt. Lands the shot, but partially through the floor. And so not the outright frag, just the tag onto Nafany. Shiro stepping up and delivering the fatal blow onto his opposite number. And with that kill, Gambit looks already in a position where he can maybe close this down.
It's a 1-for-1 trade, which Gambit are going to be absolutely fine with. Their economy is not in tatters. Young, though, he will land the shot, and that should be enough for him to escape. So an AWP save. I do hope that ends up in degster's hand, especially because we are hiding around on the map. So the free kill will come in on Tamir, likely. I think he was looking to see if there was anybody else coming around the corner, but that's the freebie. Now the remainder of the players have sort of rotated in, but it's kind of come in as like just one. How does magixx win that duel? My USP doesn't do that, and Young's actually in a position to do some extra damage. The only problem I would say is unless they genuinely think they're going to win this round, he needs to save this AWP because they don't have the money to buy another one.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they are going to win this round without a kit, actually they do have a kit. Young's picked one up, or he had one come through the start of the round. This actually is winnable in that respect. And he's also landed the wall bangs. This will keep them interested. I was almost in my mind writing this round completely off, but now there is a chance. Patsi from behind pounces onto Shiro, and they need Axel now to stand tall. He gets one, but his position is now known. Young with the peak takes him out, and there should be enough time as well, just about. Spirit have stole that round away. The timing may be off. Flicks down, survives on 1 HP. That's huge. The fact he's still alive is absolutely crazy. And he does get 1, but it's at the cost of 2 lives. And now Young goes in for the peak, but Shiro is up to the task. There are so many potential banana peels, but Gambit have flawlessly pretty much navigated their way onto B site post plant. And there's very little that Patsi or degster can do about it and make it just degster.
7. He's finding picks everywhere. He's fighting in clutch situations, and he's making it look very...
I'm a bit perplexed over though, Tom. It's like, why did Spirit rotate back to A and give up that short control? As I'm talking, degster goes for a different peak, but it's the same outcome. Shiro's destroyed him again. And with that, they can look to try and pounce onto the site. magixx now has the AWP.
nafany making noise on the drop. That will give all the information they need. So they have this B stack. They've got the weaponry as well. Dayoung is going to dunk one out with the nade, but it's at the cost of a teammate. And they have to go here. And all eyes are on the remaining members of Gambit. They need to hit their shots on the entry. And magixx is just making it work with that AWP. You mentioned multiple AWPers. Well, they seem to just be connecting whoever has it in hand. Shiro, he's running out of time. And now magixx.
Setup has taken shape with an aggressive degster peeking down long, sees nothing, so backs away. They nearly lined up for a 2-for-1.
Again, Gambit falling into this slower style of round, patiently waiting for the re-aggression, and now we got Hobbit AWPing as well. Well, you can count this man out.
20 seconds as well, but it seems like they're going to throw in the fake. It's an interference play. Axile gets winged, but still alive, and it will be a lot of time that's being wasted by interz over on long. 7-7 the score, but it's looking like Gambit may very well lead come the second half. This post plant has gone down just in time, and even though the HP bars are looking favorable to Spirit, that extra player of Exile on 3 HP could be the difference maker. And indeed, he nearly is. He does damage to Patsi, draws away his fire. Patsi walks out with one, but traded back straight away by Hobbit, who is desperately trying to get avenged back on from degster. But he's missed one too many bullets, and Hobbit will punish him. Gambit lead at halftime.
So I'm expecting big things from the side of Gambit, and once again, we're going to be watching whether or not Team Spirit actually stand.
Oh, now they're going to be sending that third player away. nafany needs to hold the site by himself. Good flashbang, still alive for so long. If he took a headshot with him, that would have been huge. Now Axile's elabored spray comes out second best, and hold on for a second. Even though Axile got the first pick, everything else is falling apart. Very reminiscent of the first pistol, where Gambit lost the first player, then came out ahead and steamrolled for the first round. It'll have to be down to interz and Shiro to salvage this disaster. Shiro putting the first bullet in, already hit 20 frags, looking for more, finds more, but magixx is having none on rounds where you have a ton of cash. Maybe these are the ones that you throw in the Hail Mary. They have bypassed that. Neil was still looking there. What?
New player on the scene joining this team. degster trying to make a move in, but this is a fake. This is them trying to pull players off, or at least keep them on the other side of the map. And okay, he doesn't really get anything done, but he has held them on that side, and Shiro's going to hit the leg shot. The jump through from Dayoung means there's an upgrade of weaponry, and they have the site to themselves.
So intelligent to jump out through that angle there. Draw away the fire, even if it's like the M4 or an SMG. Mia had the perfect crosshair placement. That's really great to see. They've done their homework. They came into this game hungry to make a declaration. And I mentioned roster switches. Dayoung a little bit slow on that engage, but still comes out and takes off the head of Exile. And to make matters worse, Gambit have lost another player behind him. Shiro gets bested by degster. They do at least post up one frag in retaliation, but that's over on B. Only 30 seconds to play with, and nafany drills into the head of Patsi. The bomb is miles away. There's going to be a lot of time elapsed before that gets onto the site, and they need to deal with this threat of nafany. And now the rest of the CTs have moved into position. Good grenade and follow-up damage from Dayoung. 15 seconds to play with. nafany goes out wide and gets punished, but now Hobbit's next up, and he's next down, executed by degster. Spirit lived to tell the tale, but Tom, there were chances for Gambit.
Now that was just a couple of save weapons, and this is the buy, but at this point, Gambit have to win this one. And degster, he's just going to ruin it. 2 kills already within.
Team currently that definitely would have more than a right to do so. Exile has came back swinging. The Russian trying to hold on for Gambit. Desperately digging in with his claws. Shiro, though, countered straight away. It's the double punch. The 1-2 combo of Dayoung and magixx. The B-side falls, and all Gambit can do is save. Spirit will be 13-8 in the lead. And as you said, Tom, that was a purchase, meaning they have very little in the bank. And I think Exile's been spotted. And if he wasn't before, now he certainly has been. No save for him.
And then once it just seems like the first player falls, it's just a domino effect. Oh my.
across. nafany, though, has taken the initiative and pushes down to short with the deagle. Hobbit puts his to use. Nearly gets 2. Patsi was tagged down to 35. It may still not be good enough, but at least gives them a fighting chance. nafany's forced off the angle. That flashbang. Big headshot. There's another one. And Gambit suddenly spring back to life.
I mentioned he's been very, very quiet. He's got an opportunity to potentially find another one, but that would have had to been the flick of a player not moving. Only 14 seconds left. He drops the bomb. He potentially wins it for them then and there. And they do check, but it doesn't matter. degster looking the wrong way, and Axel comes in, and it's another.
They finally get some success. I believe that's their first round on the CT side, and it could become 2. Hobbit again holding the line and connector.
Maybe that's the lifeline. A missed shot from Shiro, though. He's just about going to get around the corner, and he does have a bit of support. Maybe a bit of an overextension that time. Was hoping to catch the AWP fleeing the scene. Instead, he's the one to go down. I don't even know what magixx just got a kill. Like, just shot through the smoke and it's just wrecked nafany. And Sundayoung, he's got quite far. This time, though, it's not going to be enough.
Of the map, the rest should fall into place.
How many smoke kills?
I'd still be trash. But
Axel would wallbang with a Bison. I think I'd lose
1
it.
damage each hit, but it still kills faster than I do. Axel may not survive. That's not the smoke he was looking for, but actually could end up working out for him. Mia straight towards the side. 2 massive entries. He will get caught. No, he's somehow still alive. Shiro missed the shot. And although Shiro goes back in for more, he gets picked off by Mia. Single-handedly crushing the site with a 4K. And
that they keep peeking, I would just shy away from, but I guess you can't do that in competitive Counter-Strike. You can't just go, we will not stand here anymore. Now, Sundayoung, again, he's going to juggle himself through, get into position. He's been playing well, but there's magixx as well. It's like this triplet of death as they just continue to walk into this site and find openers. The time is ticking. Hobbit's still here, and Axel at least manages to deny 1. He's given them a chance, and Hobbit's dropped the bomb, I believe. Or maybe that was somebody else. It doesn't matter. All Shiro has to do is survive and a bit of a risky peak.
Fight that fire with fire of their own. Axel spotting the first player, needs this kill, needs to survive, and he goes down. And there's no one.
Will he win the duel?
He will. They tried to throw in a flashbang to deter that peak, but it won't really work out for them. Sundayoung's been tagged down to 25. Is this the round, Tom, where they decide to go A instead? Sundayoung, the timing is so brutal. And the SMG now trades up to an AK. Gambit have some fight left in them yet, but they still need to repel this push onto B. It's Patsi taking point. He's traded out, and now Mia needs to go stellar again. He needs to have an impeccable entry frag around here if they're going to try and take this away from defeat, and he stumbles at the first hurdle, and it's called Hobbit. That puts degster back against the wall. He has to go and save. There's nowhere near enough time to get this bomb down and potentially clutch this round, and Gambit, they're making Spirit work for this. They're making them sweat this a little bit more. And having a look at that banana, and it looks like the push is about to come into fruition. interz with the timing peak nearly gets the kill into Sundayoung, but he's going to get wide swung. He gets caught out in the open with his pants down, and with that death, that puts up a lot more pressure on the remaining defenders on B. Hobbit only gets 1, and nafany's been Molotov'd out of position. 25 seconds to go. They still have the bomb. It hasn't dropped into an awkward position just yet. HE down to the backside of the pillar, does a lot of damage, but no kills behind it. And although nafany tries his best to deny the bomb from the back of the site, he can't deny it. The bomb gets planted down.
They're hoping somebody gives them an angle or hands them something, but Shiro, well, I want to say he's had no impact in this second half, but the main reason is that they've gone B every round. As said, like, I mentioned that comparison to Na'Vi, where it's like you put your 2 strongest players on one side of the map, that's simple and electronic, and then basically you have everybody else defending B. It was something.
The lack of utility on 2 players. 50 seconds to go. They're trying to take some Guardian control for themselves, and Shiro puts the bullet in the head ID utility has been deployed. Spirit can't really make the most of it just yet. Now they're going to use that shield of smoke to try and push in, but Axel's having none of it. His M4 is ripping to shreds Patsi and Mia. Shiro goes in for another one. It's down to Degster. He's got 2 kills, but that's all. We're heading to overtime, but first, if there is an A side to this map, but apparently not. And Hobbit up close on the sandbags, nearly gets 2, does get 2, and there's a third alongside it. Spirit, you've got to assume that Gambit are going to have some ideas of how to lock this B site down. They've just walked straight headfirst into a massacre. Not a single point has been lost on Gambit, and they're off to such a beautiful start in overtime.
Some Young's going to try and walk through the smoke, but at this stage, they're waiting, they're ready, and it is a flawless. Too predictable at this stage. And sure, Mir was having some incredible impact, but let's be real. If you've got some stellar players, just know you're coming. They start to...
Positions being maintained from Gambit. They've sent over a third player as well. Shiro, fully flashed, stays alive, but some die young with the entry. Shiro battles back, stuck on the truck. They still have a player on long, and no one's there to really deal with this threat. If they overinvest and commit out into the site, it should be Axile picking them apart. And he shuts down magixx in the back. He will get traded up by Dexter's ult, but time is too scarce, and Mia's the last to fall. They finally hit... Can at least they stop the clean sweep Spirit, or will it be more of the same? Patsi with 2 massive entry frags, but they need more behind this. Nafany's Org is spraying down 2 players of his own, and although he drops to 15, it looks like Spirit will be dropping to their knees momentarily. The shadow betrays Axel. Good flashbang tossed in, and that will be the clean sweep.
That stops happening, their rounds completely fall apart, and we have to remember that it was 8-7, well, I guess in favor of both sides, to the T side, and this man was a menace. They may have been able to avoid him on the CT side. You cannot avoid him on the T side, and Axile is going to come up alongside him. It leaves just 3 players to try and quell the bleeding, to try and stop Gambit from taking us to a third. And it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. Patsi trying to make a play. He's got to be careful. interz is up close, ready to take him down, but Shiro's...
Spirit to apply enough pressure to stop themselves from bleeding out an overpass. Train is looking like our final and next destination, and it has been delivered for that B site. Could have left Hobbit in an awkward position. You also got information, but that info will have an expiration date, as does the life of nafany and Axile, as Dexter comes straight through Ivy with a P250, single-handedly dispatching multiple players. He's finally been quelled, but it's a great cost to the HP boss. Oh, Shiro, that second shot is sublime! Mid-air flicks. Tenable for some Young to get this first pick, but Shiro is clearly showing up to train, and he's taking no prisoners. Some Young picking up the frag down to 29 HP, and this is where the lack of bomb becomes a real issue. At range, Shiro should have the advantages. They know where each other are. It's all about wasting as much time as possible, but Shiro peaks.
To sort of maneuver around this area, interz, they don't know he's through here. There's no way they know. So he's just been... The only thing really working in their favor is the time, but the ground that's already been taken by Spirit puts them in a pretty good spot. Luckily for them, Axile is still fighting. He doesn't expect the second plow, however. And again, they're back in a disadvantage.
Oh, Mia, withstanding all the oncoming bullets, still gets a second kill. That puts his team into a 1-player advantage, as he will go down afterwards. 13 seconds, though. Time beginning to dwindle. Hobbit for a 1-for-1 trade. That grenade, even if it lands on Dexter, won't outright kill him. Lots of damage underneath the train, plus the high ordnance. Softens up both targets now to sub 50 HP. Hobbit actually has more health than the combined 2 players that he's up against, but positionally not favoring him, and Dexter won't miss the AWP shot.
He's left completely blind, and actually... they're going to push down short side of the site. They haven't spotted him at all, but they're managing to catch off the rotations. And sure, Hobbit's position seems valuable, but in an afterplant, in a 4 versus 5, he's going to have to do something pretty impressive because his teammates currently can't make it out of connector.
Exactly. magixx position single-handedly is shutting down 3 supportive elements that Hobbit desperately requires. The fact that Hobbit is typically that B player and he's yet to die, they must know he could be around any of these corners. That's why Dexter was still checking up on, and 4 players on A. It goes to show how much they respect his prowess outside towards off. And in doing so, it softened up.
It is a very promising sign for Spirit that they are this far in the lead.
No doubt at all. It's a good point. Hobbit, though, does shut down the bomb. Maybe this is the first time where Gambit can get a bit of success. At this stage, they need to make sure they hold as many of these guns as possible. Looking to wide peek, bait out. And it's down to Gambit now as well. Like, yeah, you've got one round. That's great. That's good. But can you build off that? Can you get
an AWP if they really wanted to? So then it's not worth the risk at this stage for Gambit, and being this far behind. Most teams can't compete with Gambit having a bad day. They're dominating for the most part.
There's a lot of positives, absolutely. And they could have finished this 2-0, let's be honest. Overpass probably should have ended up being theirs. It kind of ran out of steam at the end. Aggressive peek from nafany, who's 2 HEs, and that smoke has just been tossed out. Spirit are doing such a good job of making the CTs feel as claustrophobic as possible. A magixx out, considering that would put them down at 7-1 deficit.
He gets the bomb. Oh, there's only 10 seconds left. It just about sneaks around. I'm sure Axel's a bit disappointed that he could have stopped this round in its tracks. As you mentioned, there's a chance for the remaining players to save, but at this point, like, surely you have to try and fight back in this round. I guess Hobbit's just waiting for a mistake. In fact, Shiro has managed to find a kill. They've got time. He has a kit, and with Hobbit waiting, he almost gets it. I think he almost thinks he has. But instead, his teammates starting to push in. They still have no idea where the remaining player is. That's Chopper. He's just holding back to try and deny anybody onto the bomb. And although Hobbit's got the kill, it needs to be a fast frag. And that's the kit down. I don't know if there's any time for Hobbit to do anything, and it's a shame. A nice attempt at a retake, but ultimately, it's still around for Spirit.
Yeah, I think the player up in head.
They managed to hold, and he's got the AWP alongside him again. He's trying to find out where they're going, but they take an awful lot of damage. And it's the no-scope from degster that actually keeps him and the bomb alive. That gives magixx the chance to plant it, and again, Spirit in an after-plant position.
They had 2 players push that Molotov. They got destroyed by it, but it still somehow works out. Look at how many weakened players are left on the tees. degster's now been finished off alongside me, and magixx is the next to fall. That leaves it all on some die young. He's been spotted. He doesn't have a Molotov to bank off there, and no one's low enough to outright frag, so it will be a defusal coming in for Gambit. Finally, their second round on the board. But that was way too close for comfort. The fact that Hobbit went down to a no-score.
Gambit's so far. That's the 3rd incendiary they've used on main alone. It actually does force Chopper out of position. Shiro hits the shot while blind, and this is going much better for this A side. Unless degster and magixx can pull off something truly incredible, we should be seeing a Gambit 3rd round. But, you know, nafany has
on train. So an understandable decision from Spirit. When you have such a round buffer, you don't need to give the opposition any advantages whatsoever. In position, there's a slight gap in that smoke for magixx to really exploit. If he gets peeked, Shiro misses the shot uncharacteristically. But
this has just been shoulder peeking this pretty much all the way through. Flashbang goes out and manages to avoid it, and just about going to be able to be Axel actually getting the kill. And again, it is going to be the frags coming back in response. A 2v3 situation. Make that just 1. And it may have been limited weaponry. They may have not had much cash to spare, but they survive with 3 players standing. Thus far, he has failed in most cases. So I think a slightly more passive route could work. nafany, though! I think that's the first time we've seen him push into A main. He's been a pop dog player, and maybe the change was needed, as he's going to find 2 quick kills. Axel's just gone over the top. But the remaining 2 players now isolated. No bomb, 35 seconds on the clock, and a hell of a lot of work to do.
Yeah, their backs are well and truly against the wall. They're also separated from one another, so counter-fragging and getting avenge kills will be difficult. magixx picked off, as will Mia. Excellent round by nafany. Those 2
actually work out for them. I think he's fluffed the smoke. There's a smoke bounced behind Hobbit. I think that's a huge mistake, and he's going to be caught by magixx. He goes running straight through the Molotov again, and, well, his smoke is also fluffed into the air, but all it's allowed for is a response. Now, an afterplant without rifles is rough, but if Mia's going to keep hitting shots like that, maybe there's the chance as he gets his second one, leaving this one close and just looking like he wants to brawl with his opponent. Every headshot landing, and only interz going to be left. He switches off to the rifle, a 1v3, and sure, Mia can't do everything on his own. But
economy of Gambit now, not in great shape. Even with that saved up, you're looking at mid to high $2,000 at best with the deagles. And even with those stats, you can't argue the fact that Shiro had 49 kills and 1.33 rating coming into this map. nafany and interz, though, do return the favor. Live by the deagle, die by it. Hobbit has snuck around the back of some die young. He had an awkward smoke play earlier on Inferno, making amends for that, but they're not done just yet, Spirit. nafany's now going to try and use that smoke, and Shiro nearly plugged both of them with the AWP. He actually tags degster through the other player. nafany, don't do it to him. Don't do it. Don't knife him, bro. There you go. That is not just turned, but completely ripped off. He takes a dink at range down to 34. Has to tread lightly, I say that, but he springs in for two. Two headshots onto Hobbit and Exile. Even low, this man is a danger. And maybe he could have been the determining factor to get them across the board to a 2-0 had he have played on overpass. But that's a debate for another day because he's still alive. And although Gambit have themselves a post plant, it includes a kit and a smoke in the hands of Spirit. And they can start to make a move onto the site. It's magixx that leads the charge with one alongside degster. And nafany, although he's capitalized with one frag, has got himself another couple. They stick on the site and it nearly cost them everything. Has it actually cost them everything? The site's down here. The kit has been picked up. He's double tapped it. Is there enough time? This is going to be incredibly close, but I think he has it. Spirit steal it away out the jaws of defeat nearly with nafany. It requires one of you to light things up. degster watching with the scout. Misses his shot. Chopper loses his life as a result. Won't be missing the second time around and does weaken up interz. But I said he needed entries and he's picked up two of them. nafany now has so many choices to pick and he shoots between the lot of them. The CTs, though, are good for this retake mode position. He's hiding in that smoke. He knows he has to take a risk. He has to take a gamble, and it's paid off. First kill goes his way. They're going for the full defuse, and they get it in amongst the smoke. A rough spot. Let's see if Gambit can get it done. Young posted at the back of Brown, but he has been nullified, neutralized by nafany's Galil, who goes in for seconds. This is much more like it from Gambit, but they have conceded nafany now. So much damage done on the approach. degster somehow survives to that HE. Drops down to 9 HP. Exile spray is good. 4v2 suddenly becomes only 3 for Gambit. But Exile makes sure that degster will not survive his incursion outside of heaven. He gets shut down finally. Chopper with the MP9 does actually thread the...
And I think he's just going to go running onto the side. I don't know if this is just a bait, though. Yes, he taps the bomb. He knows Chopper's going to come running, but he wraps around the corner and Hobbit wins it anyway. I spoke about him. Young, he's got to be careful. The spam from nafany is not far away. He gets him in the end.
Time is starting to become a little bit of an issue. This is where the lack of utility that we were touching on before also could shine, but Shiro making sure his teammates were covered, providing the overwatch they desperately required, and now nafany, he's also chipped in. The bomb has been denied. 13 seconds left. Chopper just has to survive, but there's too many players around him. degster now also playing on top of Chopper's corpse, could maybe suppress this one. He doesn't spot the bomb plant. That could have been it. That could have been the golden... Defenders back over towards B. Shiro, the drive-by. Oh, peek, and it's worked out. We spoke about magixx. We mentioned IV, and he'll have impact, but that is majestic from Shiro. Second, his feet planted on the ground. Able to have an AWP and some Kevlar and some utility, and you instantly lose 3 players in the space of about 10 seconds. Make it 4.
Yeah, they've just been torn apart. It looked like there was almost no one there. Like, the only damage that was done was from Young, and I'm pretty sure that was a swing to try and get the control, but he's not going to lose his life. But Shiro's just so fast on those flicks that he couldn't escape. And, wow, even Chopper multiple times, Mir and Exile, and they know how much Mir likes to push. Even still, though, how did Exile lose that duel? Did he just, like, stop watching? Because that's the only place he was holding from. I don't know how Mir managed to get away with that. And now magixx has found another kill. This is starting to fall apart for Gambit. They've been so methodical, so clean all the way through. And now it's left on to interz. He needs to ace this to stand a chance. And out of nowhere, Spirit...
It kind of looked momentum-wise like Spirit were kind of down and out, to be completely honest. But here we are. The spray is good, but it is countered straight away from nafany through the smoke itself onto Mia, who's only good for 1. The Molotov to the backside of the site and connector keeps them isolated from one another and allows interz to push in, but he's missed the first jump up. That information will be crucial and gathered from the CTs. Once the smoke clears, he could very well find himself being forfeit, but Shiro is keeping the dream alive. More grenades tossed into connector, allowing interz to focus his attention elsewhere. But Young's position could be so vital. They don't know he's here, and he needs to stay alive for these 2 wraparound players of Chopper and Young alongside degster to have their impact.
This is a very passive hold, though. The only man on the site, the only man anywhere near the action is going to be interz, and he's found that secret man hiding in the corner. That was the worry frag for their team. Now everybody else is relatively common spot. They're still trying to find interz. They don't even know where the other two people are. And finally, Chopper's going to put him to the ground, but it's too little, too late. Done from this point. He's definitely slowed down from what we saw earlier, but we've seen some explosive rounds from him. magixx is going to get the opener onto Axel and fall back. But the fact is, this has turned into a B play. And even though they've got that level of aggression, they haven't actually been able to rotate too many players. It's mainly if they can buy time. If they can slow them down, Mir is going to be in on the flank. And Chopper's doing a fantastic job of that, even with the quick kill coming in from Shiro. There is no way they expect Mir to be here just yet.
Oh, Hobbit did check it, but I think this is going to sell false information to Shiro. He checked, he saw nothing, and now Mir's going to try and stick the site potentially. interz is wrapping around the side. degster will be a goner. He feels like he has to get urgent here because his teammate is still alive on ramp. He can't afford to play possum. And now with that kill and a 2-on-2, Hobbit with a spray, getting 1-2. It's a beautiful haul from Gambit.
There's already 3 players waiting on this site, but they can't do anything to deny the plant. But they can stop them getting into aggressive positions. And kicking it off with a man advantage, make that another for Chopper. But Shiro just going ham. 2 kills in response. He's looking for more. Seems to be aware of his opponent and gets him through the corner of the carriage. Gives his team a real chance. There's still the flank coming, but it has to be all Shiro. He needs to close this alone, and he might just do it. A 4th kill. He's looking for an ace. The man of 18 aces.